This is Twin Solar System Talk with Samuel Hoffman and Rebecca Benningfield.
Yesterday I sat here and I was out in the yard for, God, half the day, and I was just watching the freaking long box cube and the asteroids and everything just going right over the top of us. And nobody sees this shit. It's just insane.
Right. No. That's the last thing people are going to think about, most people.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, it was beautiful. It was awesome. It was, you know, I'm watching it. He's like, well, there it is. Like, oh, God, how can you argue with this? I'm square, you know, the long box cube is just like right there. You know, the stress level that goes along with that, and me trying to tell people and trying to ignore the level of going overboard at the same time. You've seen how Yuri is lately. She's higher and totally visible on the side embankment, and then all of a sudden Attu's moon is in front of it, and then it's going over to the far right, and green asteroid is going over to the far right, and everything is going over to the far right, and it's mixing in, and yet over the top of us, after sunset hits, we're looking at Isatham, huge, massive yellow moon, and then Nibiru runs from literally about 6 o'clock through sunset and nighttime in the northwest sky now.
Okay.
And I watched it yesterday, and I just sat there in awe, going, "Wow, it's way closer and way bigger than I expected." And I'm trying to start to ponder where Saru is, because if that's going on over the top of us, then Saru has to definitely be in our southwest sky, or southeast, or south sky.
So behind Yuri, still at the horizon.
But Yuri's going over us.
Okay.
And then they're doing it gets midday over the top of us, and then all of the stuff does this rotational thing as the sun changes, which is our rotation versus the other planets as well, which is much faster than it used to be, which is why it's hard to understand, because they're so damn close. I just go, okay, shit, okay, all right, I can't even figure this out. I know they're right here. Oh, Christ, my ears have been going nuts for about 3 days.
Oh, really? Like pressure?
Oh, yeah, really. Oh, it's horrible. It's like this wah, 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 wah. And it's just like, ow. And it hurts. And I asked my kids, I said, do you hear that? And they went, no. I went, oh, my God, you got to be kidding me. It's so strong and so, I hear them. Every time Nibiru comes over in the evening, it's just like, ow, 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 ow. Well, it makes me nauseous. I get spun out. I hear it. It's like a plane that's over the top of me that never leaves. I hear everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I feel airplanes, 12, 15 miles away when they start into the valley. I feel it in my feet. Mm. And yeah, I'm way more sensitive to everything than everybody around me. So, I'm not going to sit here and brag about it, but that's what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of shit, and which I'm supposed to be, but I've traveled along with the asteroids since I was a child.
So what does that mean? I've heard you say that before, that like you vision yourself with the asteroids as they're moving?
Well, I was in the middle of them. I would be asleep, and I would be uncomfortable. It was mostly every time. It had a tendency to occur in the sleeping pattern, in a dream pattern, when my parents were fighting during my early childhood.
Are these things that you see when you're awake or asleep?
No, most of the time in the early years, it had to do with an uncomfortable, like a texture dream. It was like when you feel flannel on your fingertips, and then reach to silk. It's hard to describe, but it's like feeling something that is there, but you don't know what it is.
Okay. And
I actually had visual representations in dreams of asteroids grinding against each other, turning to dust.
And how did you know it was asteroids? At that time?
Because you see space bodies grinding into each other, rocks, debris, asteroids that are just like Star Wars.
Wow.
You know, you're in an asteroid field and you know it. And they were grinding against each other in my dreams, which put me in an uncomfortable state. It was, you know, texture, the things grinding against each other. And I dreamt about it, Christ, most of my life. And then now, you know, I'm here talking about the asteroids that we're watching ever since, you know, they came out of the, you know, upper left corner in, like, what, 2010, 2009. And here they are. You know, these asteroids grinding against each other by the millions. You know,
sure.
So, you know, the wormwood thing and all that crap that we, you know, I learned many years later. So, you know, I mean, how do you describe that?
It seems like most of the asteroids are to the left of our suns. Is that correct?
Currently, yeah. Well, you know, the asteroid group has to do with the gas giants. They're, you know, where all the debris fields and the, you know, gas giants are these large electron clusters that hold an internal mass that pull in gravitationally and electrically all of the debris and the rocks. And that's why they're positively or electrically or negatively charged in their placement versus our opposite electrical charge. Why they pass us every day without, you know, dropping in on us is because they're electrically charged to the bodies, the gas giants that are, we know, that are directly in front of us, because we've seen it for, what, you know, a decade. So
how likely is it that they would leave those atmospheres?
No, they're not going to.
They won't?
You know, the only way that they can separate themselves electrically is through some, you know, catastrophic scenario.
Okay.
Where you have, you know, a breakdown, and that won't happen. And people are talking about the pole shift because, you know, Earth is within a month of tip.
Yeah.
You know, and all of that. And we won't lose complete rollover unless the magnet is large enough to do that to us. And I don't think it is, because I don't think their polarity versus our solar system polarity is going to change places. I don't think it will. I think we're going to be tipped and rolled and rambled and messed with, but after they leave, that's when we have to worry. Just like what occurred to when they were first coming to us, which is where the Indian tectonic plate broke and the tsunamis and all of that shit that happened to Malaysia and Indonesia in 2007, 8, 9. You know, and then there may be a catastrophic tsunami event from it. There may be a catastrophic tectonic plate movement event from it, where they grab and pull entire, you know, tectonic plates and drag it across the seafloor, which is what, you know, has been shown in past underwater sea evaluations, etc., throughout science. But they're not going to completely flip us, but we are tipped. And as Nibiru, you know, it goes over the top of us now, and Uri and all the asteroids and everything, which is why Canada is on fire. Because I think they're getting direct, you know, discharge from the object cluster group to light up their forests, because they're dried out, because all of our weather has changed, etc., etc. So, you know, we are seeing climate change, which is exactly what happened in 1650 BC. You have some very loud birds.
I do. I do. I have 3 bird feeders. But still, you're right. I don't know. I got like 5 or 6 regular squirrels, and then the birds. I don't know what to do about them. They won't listen to me. I tell them to hush.
Well, I just keep feeding them, because, you know, we're very short. You know, we lost 50 million birds last year.
Okay.
And 100 before the year before that, and 125 million before the year that, you know. And
that's
like,
sad.
Yeah, birds are dying. We're in the 6th mass extinction going on right now. It's all changing. We're losing frogs. We're losing salamanders. We're losing birds. We're losing all kinds of animals. But, you know, this happened the last time too. And people, you know, you got to look at it as cyclic. You know, every 3,654 to 3,700, you know, years, all of this shit changed. And everybody goes, oh, we're just normal, you know, we don't have any records of, you know, before that, but, you know, we're guessing. And that's exactly what it is. They're guessing. Because there was other higher, civilizations before us. Which is why they find the shit that they keep finding. And they go, God, what's this mean? Well, yeah, because, there was something before us. And, empirical, unfortunately, all of our standards of science comes from England and empirical science, and we have to, follow this rule of law, which is like, excuse me, but you guys are so wrong, it's unbelievable. You can't unsee this. Once you see the size of these planets, and there they are, and the cubes, and the smaller ships, and you go, oh shit, there they are.
Right.
How long have we watched them now?
After a while, you start seeing the continuous curved edges, that go across the sky.
Right.
That was the first thing that really stood out when I started to see them was, this continuous line that curves, and that is when it started to sink in how big it was.
Right, and there's just the asteroid circle, and there's just the planetary circle, and there's this Attu, there's this Attu's moon, there's this Uri behind it. Oh my God, look over, that Isatum, and Isatum's yellow moon is cutting off the right side of the sun. Oh shit, there it is. And, we've watched this for so many years now, and if it was a pipe dream, it would have not matched. And here it is matching year after year after year after year and getting bigger and bigger,
I mean, that's the biggest part of all of this is your drawings and how they match, drawings that you made in advance, how they match people's pictures that they took today. Nobody else is doing that, can do that. So that's what really holds all of this together.
Why I keep doing it was because I was told by the Pleiadian that I'm not trying to brag about it.
Yeah.
But he said only you can do this, and why I don't know, because it's so basically plain and obvious to me that I can draw it. To me, I see it. There it is. How can you miss this?
Right.
There it is. And we've done this year after year after year after year. There it is. Holy shit. I was told in, 1980 that, no one will ever believe you if you told them the truth anyway. Just, it boils back down to chemtrails. Watched them the other day. Okay, yeah, you're covering up the shit you don't want us to see. Next, move on. That's the whole it boils down to ignore the shit that they're pumping in front of you so you can see what's behind it. And you learn that.
Yeah, totally.
Because if they're pumping crap out in front of you, then you're focusing on that. And you're going, oh, look at that. And it's breaking up the round circles of the planetary bodies or the ion drop tails or the open illuminated rainbow core or even the asteroid group of Uri or the base cloud of Nibiru or the side moon of Isatum, or they're trying to cover up to break the eye from actually gathering what we're seeing. A straight line across a round circle will break up your view. And then you go, oh, okay, there's a plane went by, and then your brain's on local, not distant. It's a double-edged sword. It blocks the extrasolar light coming in over the G7 countries, so we're not frying. And that's why the other countries who don't have G7 coverage are frying and have no water or too much water, because they're not being covered by what the extrastellar body is putting upon the Earth, the minor block area. They can only reach so far, and I watched it yesterday, but they have done far less chemtrails in the last, 8 years than they used to. So, they're spending far less, but they're doing it over, I've noticed it's only over the top of cities and towns, populated areas, and they don't, spray over the entire country. They just go over the top of the city, do a few lines, break up what your view is, block a little solar from the outside and from the inside, and we're covered. Yeah, the program is still spending millions and billions. We don't think should ever be. A, it's toxic, and B, they're hiding the truth from us. And C, they're actually protecting us in ways that, we don't even appreciate. Well, what they have to put up in the atmosphere in order to refract all of this is, toxic. Aluminum chloride, all these refractive particles that will, block some of this extra, stellar light that's coming in because, there's that extra star, which no one really truly believes in, but that's the whole premise of the scenario, is that we have two solar systems, two groups of planets, and there's not going to be rogue planets out there without a star, because nobody can live on planets without a star. Otherwise, they would be asteroids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The way that we've been explaining science to most populace is unacceptable and not expressed to a greater level so that you can understand the gravy between the potatoes and the carrots. You got to have more of the information. And, we're not gravitational. We are electrical. The whole entire everything, our bodies and all Earth and universe and multiverse and everything, it's all electrical. And gravitational is not the explanation.
Some people would say, well, how is the apple falling to the ground, or how do you explain that?
Because you're electrically the thread connected to the body that is all, there's 235 volts in the ground. Mm-hmm. And if you're electrically charged, because you're grown on planet Earth, you're going to drop to the mass. Smaller mass will always go to the larger mass, because it's electrically connected to pull it in. Same thing, it's more magnetational than gravitational. If you're a negatively charged asteroid, a body that is dead, you'll tumble and you'll do this thing and you'll look like crystals and rock. But if you're a positively charged core body, you'll be rounding, the rounding stellar effect, which is planetary or moon-like, which is, will blow all of the flat Earth people out of the water and all of that crazy stuff. But if you don't have the electrical charge, if you're not of the Earth or not of your personal environment, well, then you'll float. Right? The negative crap goes by and drops into us, whatever. But the positive things will repel and push away from each other.
You talked about the 40-degree mark in the next few weeks. Is that the, pole shift?
We could see drastic weather change the moment that happens. We don't know. We could see planetary. We could see tectonic plate changes. We could see volcanic occurrences. We could see weather changes. We don't know.
Yeah.
And this is why, I'm still waiting for all this shit to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be Zeta talk and go, oh well, it's April 19th, we're all going to die, Yeah. And I'm not gonna go there because, I know that there's something coming. Right. I feel it. I don't know what. I can only look back at the past, which is, the only level of evidence that we have. Nor do I don't see all of it, but I see a lot more.
So, here recently, the fires in Canada, the smoke in the air, and how orange, like the sky is right now over New York. How much of that color do you think is smoke, and how much is because of the planets?
Well, that depends on the location. Now, if you're anywhere from literally the Great Lakes all the way to New York, a good portion of that color comes directly from Canada. And if you're anywhere in the rest of the country, from, Florida to Arizona to California to Washington State, you're going to be seeing a little more clear reality. Now, granted, that we know that the red illumination does come, of course, from Miss Ephraim, because she's very red and she's very close and she's angular, where that refractive light will shine upon us, so our cloud ratio as well. But what people have to realize is that, that the sun shining up shows the colors at sunset. And if it's refracting on something other than the skyline, well, God, that's a planet.
Yeah.
And, and you just look for the larger round, and you'll see the whole planet going, oh, well, that's why that's red, and that's light blue, and that's dark blue and red. Light blue, dark blue and red, light blue, well, planet, sky, which you show in all your pictures lately for the last 5 years? Where you're showing the difference between, light blue, dark blue, planet, sky.
Right,
right. And, 10 degrees of out view should not make dark blue versus light blue, but there it is, which shows you planet edge. And we're seeing the back side and the dark side of these planets. And then you look 10 degrees over to your right or left, depending on, the scenario. And you see light blue, which tells you that's the real sky. The birds are seeing shit that we can't even see. And that's why they're singing early. Because they see something rise up that casts off an illumination that we don't even see. And that's why I've never pushed beyond Facebook, because by God, they've let me be here alone with minor, issues. I've been in Facebook jail like 60 times now. I mean, my God. And but I and everything else I've ever signed for, I've been blocked. No Skype, no this, no that, no nothing.
Wow.
Even all of my encrypted channels are dead. I can't open my emails. My phone rings, and I get one phone ring. Ring, and then it's dead.
Yeah.
People who are trying to call me are cut off. And when my phone rings, I'm lucky to, get it. And, my mail's been cut off. My benefits have been cut off. Oh, God. The shit I've gone through.